Hi guys, welcome back to Mixed Family Hair Care Cuts and Styles. A few days after I gave my youngest son a haircut, it was time to give my oldest son a haircut. So I thought I'd go ahead and record that and share it with you and kind of do a tutorial on how I cut his hair. This is going to be a 3-2-1 fade. First I'm prepping the hair by brushing out the tangles and putting some water on the hair to soften up the curls. This is the way that I prefer to fade hair. 3-2-1 instead of 1-2-3. When you start at the bottom with your 1 and move into your 2 and 3, it creates a hard line that you have to blend out. When you start at the top of the haircut with the larger clipper guard, 3, then 2, then at the very bottom of 1, you only have soft lines to blend into. It makes blending much easier. The clipper I'm using for this haircut has a lever on the side that helps adjust the blade for the haircut. Push the lever down to extend to the half position, pull the lever back up to go to the base position. I'm starting this haircut with a number 3 guard near the upper sides and back. The lever is going to be in the upward position, making the haircut a solid number 3. If the lever was in the downward position, it would be a 3.5. As I push the clipper up to where I want my number 3 to end, I pull the clipper slightly away from the head. The clipper rocks out a little bit towards me as it reaches the top of the line where I want the number 3 to stop. I don't just keep following the head into the hair on top. I pull the clipper away and out from the head as I go up. What I like to do next is blend with the clipper over comb technique. Instead of extending the blade, I just use the comb as an extension. It helps give me a little extra buffer to help protect from taking too much hair off near the top of the fade. Essentially, this is like a 3.5 without extending the blade. Now I use a number 2 clipper guard. I'll be blending into the 3 that I just did. I push the lever down to extend the blade to the half position. This gives me the 2.5 that I need to blend into the 3. So now I'm blending into the number 3 above with a 2.5. There's no hard line that I have to blend out. Because I started at the top with the larger guard and I'm working my way to the bottom with the smaller numbers, it makes it very easy to fade this haircut. As I work my way around the head, I continue to rock the clipper guard away from the top of the haircut a little bit as I reach the number 3 sections. Where I did the number 3, I don't want to take that and make it a 2.5. I want to blend the 2.5 into the number 3, so I continue to rock the clipper away from the head a little bit as I reach the hair that I've already cut. Pushing the lever back up, we're at a number 2. I'm blending the bottom of the haircut with my number 2 into the hair that I just cut, the 2.5. Don't go too high with that number 2. We want to keep that number 2.5 and that number 3 at the top. Now that I'm done blending with the number 2 guard, I'm going to use a number 1 guard and push the lever down again to extend the blade so that I get a 1.5. With my 1.5, I'll be able to blend very easily into the number 2. There are no hard lines that I have to fade out or blend out, so this makes the bottom of the fade very easy. I'm still being careful to move the clipper away from the head a little bit as I blend my 1.5 up into my number 2. I don't want to make the number 2 section a number 1.5 section. I just want to lightly blend my 1.5 up into my number 2. At this point in the haircut, I've already adjusted the lever back to the upwards position so that I can have a solid 1 base position. And I'm blending the 1 from the bottom into the 1.5 that I just did. So as you can see, blending in the 3-2-1 manner is quite a bit easier, at least in my opinion, than the 1-2-3 blend. I never ended up with a hard line that I had to fade out into the haircut and work at to make disappear. All of the lines were soft and faint and easy to fade out as I worked from the top to the bottom. Now as I work my way back through the fade for the final blending work and touch-up work, you'll see me adjust the lever up and down a few times as I lightly blend with my 1.5 into my 2 and go back down to my 1, making sure that there are no heavier spots and really just touching up and refining the blend. You can see here that even though I work a little higher into the fade, I'm still using my 1.5. I'm just using a very light touch as I use that 1.5 clipper, barely touching the ends as I take out a little bit more weight to blend my fade. I'm well aware that I have the number 1.5 guard that I'm using, so when I go up into the 2 and the 3, I am not pressing the clipper down to the scalp. I'm just barely catching a little bit of the heavier hair to continue to blend my fade. Sometimes all you need is just a light touch with the corner of your clipper to make sure that the blend is exactly how you want it. Now it's time to finish up the bottom of the haircut. I'll take my mini trimmer and go all around the bottom edges and clean up the neckline as well as the sideburns. Then I'll be trimming the top just to get rid of split ends and we'll be all done. For the top of the haircut, I'm just taking off 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch just to make sure all the ends are even and get rid of the split ends. Then I'll be going through the top corner sides just to take off the points and make sure that the hair is blended from the top as it goes down to the bottom. I'll also be checking the crown area as it's shorter than the top and the front. So I'll be making sure that the crown and the cowlick area blend into the top seamlessly. As I work my way back on the top of the haircut, I'm just moving back in 1/2 inch to 1 inch sections and moving my guide, keeping a traveling guide with me, keeping in mind that I'm just taking off 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch as I move back. So I'm keeping it all the same length, and I move my fingers back 1/2 inch to 1 inch and just keep up a traveling guide as I go. Thank you to everybody who's made it this far watching my video. Please like and subscribe if you would like to see more haircut tutorials. I hope that my video was helpful and that you learned something and that it makes the haircutting experience easier if you're trying to do a haircut at home. If you have any comments or questions about this haircut tutorial, please let me know. If you have any suggestions for future haircuts that you would like to see, please feel free to share. I'll be posting a really cute haircut for girls pretty soon, so stay tuned. I love cutting hair and I love sharing what I know, so I really hope that these videos are going to be helpful to somebody. Hope you have a wonderful day. See you next time. Bye!